nature and God, not from government.
All God asks of you is faithfulness.
35 years of fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture.
This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
And welcome to New York. Glad you're with us. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you each weekday for AFA Today from AFR Talk and, of course, online on AFR.net and seen on many cable systems and televisions around the world as well. We are welcoming you, grateful for you being here, and thank you for stopping in. We check your kind of top of the consciousness news here in the middle of the day, and we go from here and we try to apply critical thinking skills where we obliterate confusion, replace it with truth, and then pursue clarity. I call it the secret to a life well lived, but others may disagree. I'm pretty sure some do. I get a good amount of hate mail every day. Just a warm, lovable, fuzzy guy like me. I don't understand what motivates such strong hatred. But anyway, I'm sorry that I do. Actually, I'm not. Here's the thing. I don't care if I make you angry. I'm not concerned about hurting your feelings at all. My greater goal is that if I care about my fellow man, I'm going to tell them the truth. Now, I'm going to try to do it in love. I'm going to try to do it in love every single day. But I don't care if you agree with me or not. It's no water. It's water off a duck to me. Thick skin, thick skin, thick skin. So that's it. And if you do disagree with me, let me give you a little hint. Sticking to the actual substance of the argument, probably the best way to go. You start invoking things about me personally, waste of time. I don't even read it. You want to talk about how I think and what we're arguing, that's a different story. I'll pay attention to it. And by the way, if you send me more than one email in which you attack me personally, has nothing to do with what we're talking about, my choice of clothes or, I don't know, the sound of my voice or something weird like that. Yeah, more than one of those, I just set up a block in the email and it just goes right over to the dump box. So knock yourself out. Anyway, glad to hear that many of you don't feel that way, and you always are welcome. Whether you disagree or agree, you're always welcome to join the conversation at 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. And we've got plenty to talk about today. Syria, the new chapter. Every day there's some new wrinkle to this. The G20 is about to get underway in St. Petersburg, Russia, and Mr. Putin is not impressed with the case that John Kerry laid out before both sides of Congress over the last 2 days. Actually, John Kerry lost his cool in the House of Representatives committee yesterday, and that was kind of interesting to watch. But here's the thing: Putin says he's lying, and according to a new headline that's up right now, that is being also reported by the Associated Press. It's up on Drudge, but it's also being reported by the Associated Press and USA Today. Putin says Russia has a 100-page document that they've produced that contains evidence that the chemical attack didn't come from Assad's group at all. In fact, they firmly believe that it came from Al-Qaeda-based rebels that are doing a number of other things besides that. They've also, in the last couple of days, I've reported to you on this broadcast, they're attacking villages of neutrals or innocents in the process, and they're doing that as a way of trying to lay blame on Assad. Again, I'm not taking one side or the other here. These are both bad apples. If they both had nuclear warheads and they could knock each other off the planet, I don't think any of us would be the sorrier for it. I just don't. I mean, these are bad guys killing more bad guys, and it's about who wants to be in control, and it's about who's not going to let them, and it's about who gets to save face and who doesn't. And that's what Syria is all about. This kind of three-ring circus we've got going on in Washington, where somehow American interests are laid into that. I haven't seen anybody connect those dots yet. Have you? I haven't. But now we've got Russia claiming openly that they've got a 100-page report that demonstrates evidence that Syrian rebels should be blamed for the chemical weapons attack. And I don't know if anybody thought to ask this question or not. And I think it's worth asking. I honestly do. This attack took place in March. Why did we wait till after Labor Day to get all hot and bothered about it? 3 months into the year, they used these weapons. Whoever used them, used them. 3 months into the... Why, after the 1st of September, are we now all of a sudden very vexed by it? What is it happening that's like right now that causes us to be so overly concerned about the mighty importance of the tragedy that has been levied against the Syrian people? Why now? Yeah, this civil war has been going on for 2 years. This chemical attack took place in March. Why now? Are we all worried about it? I've got to ask these questions because they run through my head, and I'm like, what's the timeline of why it has to happen now? Al-Qaeda has completely infiltrated the rebel force in Syria. They asked for our help first, by the way, which we declined. And then Assad killed 100,000 plus people with bullets and bombs, and we still declined. We looked the other way. Then Al-Qaeda said, well, we'll help. Of course, we're going to have to take power when we're done, and we'll just behead everybody that doesn't agree with that. But, yeah, we'll help. And now it says that they're serving as highwaymen, kidnappers, killers. They're executing men on their knees. Secretary of State Kerry told the House of Representatives committee yesterday that these are just moderate rebels. They're not extremists. Then we have all these stories of them attacking innocent villages, defenseless villages, Christian villages in particular. I don't know. The more that we get down the path on this, the less I'm convinced that we need to do anything in this mess. And now you've got another member of the Security Council, which we don't have a resolution from, by the way. Everybody wanted to talk about how unilateral George W. Bush was. He at least had UN Security Council resolutions, and he had coalitions that numbered at least 4 dozen each of countries that supported him. We have no support. France yesterday, they surrendered. Before they even started fighting, they just threw their weapons down, said, we're French, we give. We go drink our cafe. So it's done. We don't have a coalition. We don't have a UN resolution. And we're still arguing about whether or not we should become involved in this conflict. I'm not doing that. It's not that I'm a partisan. I don't have a jersey on. I don't understand the rationale for it, and I want somebody to explain it to me, and I want somebody to demonstrate evidence for us that at least trumps something that Russia can produce, a 100-page document that pieces together what they say is evidence that Al-Qaeda and the rebels actually launched the chemical attack to make it look as though Assad did it. And here's the question I keep asking, President Obama. Do you want to be the commander of the Al-Qaeda Air Force? Is that what your intention is? Do you want to be directing the air support for the Al-Qaeda thugs that killed 3,000 Americans on 9/11/2001? I mean, that's really the bottom line question here. Do we have a role to play that has anything to do with actual America or our allies? Al-Qaeda wants to topple Assad. They want to create a base. We might have to deal with them in the future, but I don't think we should be helping them now. I just don't know that we have the evidence necessary to make that decision. And I keep asking questions, and I keep asking questions, and I keep asking questions, and I keep not getting answers. John Kerry gets indignant when somebody asks a question in the hearings. President hasn't been seen since Saturday. What are we to do if this president decides to go against even Congress and put us into this mess? I don't know. I don't have the answer. It echoes very simply something I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. Friends, when you get out of bed in the morning, fall to your knees and spend time in prayer. Prayer for your nation, prayer for your family, prayer for your marriage, prayer for your leaders, and prayer for the future. When we don't know all the answers to all of the keys, we can be rest assured of one thing, that there is someone who does. And he reveals himself to us, and he gives us the opportunity to not only know his mind through his word and his heart through his word, but to know him as well. So what we need to be doing, what we should be doing, what we must be doing, is seeking him in this matter. One of the things I remember about President Bush's presidency, one of the things that really stood out to me, I didn't agree with everything President Bush did, but one of the things that really captured my attention was the degree to which he admitted that he depended upon prayer of people praying for him, and prayer prayed on his knees to God about some of the very big and weighty decisions that he had to make. I don't hear any of that talk coming from our leaders now, and I think we have to stand in the gap in their stead. We have to ask God to change their mind, to demonstrate to them the truth on places if they are in conflict with his mind and heart on this. And a good friend of AFA and of this broadcast and of people that listen to this network all the time, Dr. Ray Pritchard, said many, many times in the 16 years that he served as my senior pastor, said this all the time: prayer can change men who won't. Prayer can change men who won't change. Prayer can change men who won't. If we are concerned, if we have anxiety, if we are nervous about the future, about what is going to happen in Syria, then certainly praying to the God who made us and everything around us that we see is a step of wisdom. And who knows? Maybe it will change someone who wouldn't otherwise. We'll have to wait and see. Kevin McCullough, very glad to be with you. Now, there's a number of stories I want to get to today, but if you do have thoughts on Syria, the fact especially that Russia is now saying that rebels did the chemical weapons, that Kerry's just flat out lying. That I'm going to read you the quote, but that's exactly what Putin said. He said he's lying, he knows he's lying, and he knows he shouldn't be lying. He got called out to the international media that are gathered for the G20. And it's embarrassing. I'm sure that John Kerry's having a no good, very bad, horrible day. But that's what happens sometimes if there's evidence that you might not be, being candid about the things that you're supposed to be candid about. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. We've also got an education update for you today, and a very disturbing article written in Christianity Today. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to all this, but saying Christians should possibly walk away from football. Yikes. Talk about that. And much more when we continue on AFA Today. Stay with us.